guys, it's been a while since you guys have seen any footage or heard anything about my 1953 International. So I wanted to kind of recap and preface what's going on, kind of how this video is. So this truck was supposed to be at Sick Week for Sick Ward in February 2023. We ran into some problems and we weren't able to make that deadline, so we took the blue truck, our shop truck. There's footage of us doing Sick Week. We had a great time, no regrets. We were, however, sad that we didn't get this to go, but there's a few things like money that kind of, not a few things. The main thing for us was just money. That was one of the main reasons we did. It was a time crunch for us, but if we would have had money to fix those problems, it wouldn't have been as big of a deal and we could have made the deadline. We don't have any sponsors, so technically I guess all you guys that are watching are sponsors in some small way. But that makes it hard when you have to funnel money into your projects. And then we have so many other vehicles that are our daily driver old vehicles or stuff that we use to work with, our tow trucks and our trailers, what have you, that we have to keep running because we do have other things that we have to do. So the International kind of got put on the back burner. That's not to say that we didn't work on it in the meantime, because we did from February to current. We just didn't have enough footage to make it worth a video of its own. So we've collected all this footage, and basically this is kind of a video of what's been going on the past months. So hopefully, if all goes well, we will have this running. We did get into Sick Week again in February, the end of January, February, but the racing portion, so we're so excited about that. That is our goal, to have this completely race ready for Sick Week again, kind of like a redemption. Hopefully we can make that work. That's what we're aiming for. That's our motivation, so hopefully we can make that work. But the next minute is going to be a recap of the first two videos that we released months ago. Just kind of giving you guys a background if you're new here, if you don't know what's going on with this. It's my 53 International R-110. We decided to turn it into a gasser, mainly because that was the only way that we could probably be somewhat even like 10% competitive at drag and drives. And then also it does have a stick shift in there, so if it doesn't fit into the gasser category, even though it's going to look like one, it is one, it will fit into the stick shift category, so that gives us two kind of options. Also, we thought that it was interesting, or I did, because I never would have chose to make this into a gasser because I wanted the cute little red farm truck. But I'm pretty excited about that because people our age don't really build gassers, so that's kind of a new thing. We have seen some more people start building them since we've started this one, so that is kind of neat. We've never personally had a gasser or anything similar. This is also the most money that we have ever put into a project vehicle for us. Usually we just make them run, drive, stop, work good, but this one has to be more correct and more safe. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. It has been a long time coming. Pushing the International into the shop for the first time in 2022. This is my 1953 International pickup truck. I've had it for several years now, probably 2 or 3, and it's been sitting just out in our yard waiting for something to happen to it. It has a 351 Ford motor in there. What I think we're going to do is we're going to try to build this for Hot Rod Drag Week. We're going to try to make it into a gasser because it does have a straight axle front end. We think that would be the easiest class for it to fit into. Before pulling the old motor out, we wanted to verify that it would actually run. It did, so we decided to pull it out so that we could freshen it up. These are the only parts that we bought brand new. Everything else was sourced from swap meet or the Summit scratch and dent. That's better.
Well, today we installed the clutch pedal assembly and the master cylinder and plumbed it. I got to do some ties to hold this line against the firewall and stuff, but it is plumbed and bled. The clutch works. So yay. Now the brakes, steering, and throttle. Then we can make this thing run. I could take a grinder and cut some off this lip too. It's got a wide spot that sticks out. Let me do that. I believe that worked. And yes, I know those were not header gaskets, but those are the gaskets I have, so they're the ones I'm using. It's not going to have mufflers, so it's not going to have any back pressure. I think it'll be fine. Plus, they're easy to slip in. Just they have solid holes in the end.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Oh yeah, look at all that clearance I got now. I think it does still just barely touch, but that's fine. That'll be fine. I don't care if it touches, I just didn't want it to be like bound up. We are gonna have to have some like actual header bolts. Them big 9/16 bolts ain't work. Probably like an Allen head bolt is gonna be ideal for this. The starter's on, the motor mount bolts are tight, the headers are fit. I gotta go get some bolts, and we'll go from there. Yeah, this side's gotta be cut too. Hold on, this side's not as bad. I'm gonna have to cut this side.
Daniel just got done cutting the valve cover. As you can see, he first had to cut it to make sure that it would go over this lip, and then he had to cut it to clear these valve covers even more. So now there's space between every single one of these. Oh, there's a piece of that. Get out of here. So this valve cover is now installed. It's ready to go. We didn't want to cut the valve cover because I like these and didn't want to cut these up. So we cut the intake instead. And now he's trying to determine if we need to cut on this side more. So as you can see, it's already done a little bit to clear this.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut this back one. I'm gonna take this baffle out because this baffle hits that, which means we're not ever gonna be able to keep oil in this. I got the valve covers installed, got all these cut, and all that works. They clear now. And I got the headers installed, and the starter wires installed to the solenoid. And
Carburetor's on now.
well, I don't have it bolted down because I can't find those nuts I bought. We need to clean these pulleys up and install them. I got the fuel pump and the oil filter installed.
Had to do a little.
We didn't do that
Smashy,
bashing.
smashy.
That was while they were at the swap meet cheap. I had to do some smashing back here, and it still hits, and I don't care. It might rattle a little bit, but you can both hear it anyway. The clutch works. I don't know if we talked about that. We got it bled and plumbed, and it actually works. I did have to take a baffle out here to clear these rockers, which really annoys me because that's going to pump oil out of it. Or I have to have some kind of a breather that seals up good. We're probably not going to run these valve covers. We're going to run them for now, but we're going to run something different. All right, we need nuts for the carb.
It's another day here at the shop working on the International. And today, or tonight rather, we're gonna work on putting the spark plugs in and the spark plug wires. Is there anything else?
I don't know what we're gonna do tonight. I know that these spark plugs are extremely close to the headers in 2 or 3 spots. She's just gonna burn wires religiously. Particularly that front one. This one's kind of close. I don't know why on earth they would make headers like that. Fan is in a lovely location. See, I can wear stuff pretty. I just don't.
Look at how nice that is.
One more. Alright, this one goes to the stripper. It's plug in right there. Come out that same hole and just run down along the bottom of the valve cover.
Yeah, I guess so. What? I think that's it. The grommet came out. So the grommet came out.
Ah, balls. You had one job, and that was to make sure that
You had poked it through there and it came out the same times.
well, it's back in its own now. This needs to come out and go down here and follow through. I get like anal and stuff. Like if I do one nice, I want it all done nice. So I want it to come out and go down and then turn forward. I'm gonna put it in conduit too. We might put a little clip here, or is it tied to that?
Yeah.
And run it down the rail, and then turn it to there. Or the expensive break-in all on the ground. Break-in. See, we think a lot of this one, we ain't even using no Rotella.
Well, you gotta have another hand to hold it. You did a dripping mess.
I I hate funnels. I usually just pour it without a funnel because I do better pouring it without a funnel. That made a massive mess. I wish they made break-in oil in like a 40 weight or a 50 weight. I don't like that 30 weight oil. It's thin. I picked this one because it was big and aggressive. And I thought it would hold itself. I really don't like those valve covers. I want valve covers with the little stands on them to slip the breathers onto, and then you have a spout to pour oil into. I don't care if it says Holly, I don't care if they're aluminum, I don't care what they look like. I don't like those valve covers. They're fine for a street run, but not good for. Well, before all you guys on YouTube get your panties in a wad, yes, I know the battery is sketchy. Yes, I know the cables are backwards between black and red. I don't care. I also know we have no cooling system. This is a motivational engine start, not the actual like run the engine and break it in. All we're gonna do is listen to it pop off, make sure our wiring's good, it's in time and all that. So, we've got this done. We've got a boat gas tank plumbed to our pump. A sketchy temporary hose ran to this fuel log that's flipped backwards and bent funny. Don't know what it's for, but it's not for this. But it's gonna work to test fire this thing. So here goes. I'm gonna spin it a few rounds to build oil pressure before I like give it any throttle. Sure we haven't pumped fuel yet. No. I'm going to do the, is this flammable? I'm going to do the correct thing and feed it something flammable.
Then electronic cleaner.
Yeah, whatever that is. It is not potent. It's also possible that I don't have enough gas in that. New brake cleaner is more potent. I've never used electronic cleaner to start a vehicle, but we've done that in the Nissan. So it was free. I'm beginning to wonder if our fuel pump works. some more throttle. Don't have any fuel yet. Get an air nozzle and a rag and pressurize this. Force.
I see nothing.
Yeah, I don't either. Something that seals up better than my hand. There we go. Now we have real fuel. And the battery's in. Pretty much, anyway. The key, just hold the switch in one hand and do the key with the other hand. The notches on that key switch are very close together. Turn, go, 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 spin. Yeah, anytime one spits back, you gotta spin it to suck the fire out. Oh, we got it on camera. Alright, go again. We may have the firing order not right.
Wasn't me!
Well, there's two firing orders for a Ford.
Oh.
Yeah. Go again.
I thought we were gonna like drop.
Probably. Go.
That's extremely loud.
Yes. Yeah, that revs a whole lot quicker than the old one. Did you hear how quick it came up when I revved it?
Yeah. This is future Brittany wanting to tell you that this footage that you're fixing to see is all from August of 2023, several months after we should have had the truck running for sick week. With all regard for pretty thrown out the window at this point, Daniel has got the alternator installed. This is the bracket that I did not clean. He said, no time, if you want this to run, I'm shoving it on there. So that's what he did. And you want to tell him about how you did all this stuff? Or what you did here?
I don't know what I did. The alternator is only held on with one bolt. I'm going to put a ratchet strap on the back side to hold tension on the belt. This is a spark plug and an old heater hose to block off that second port.
Look at all the washers and the nuts.
The washers and the nuts are fine. I install stuff like that all the time. People fuss at me about that, but it works, and I don't understand why anyone cares.
Okay, well, whatever. Moving on. Over here we have this old Ford Blue pulley, I guess.
Yeah, I found that one under the workbench.
Does not match my teal over there. Whatever.
Or the non-painted water pump.
Or the non-painted, yeah, whatever.
It's fun.
So, attention to detail, going great. And then
Yeah,
you
well,
slide over here and time crunch C.
You know what the difference is? The difference is this junk's gonna run now. I can't do attention to detail. I throw stuff together and make it work. My stuff runs, and we go do things with our stuff. We drive our stuff. Anytime I start trying to pay attention to details, stuff sits here for months and doesn't get done. So, yay, we're not doing it that way. Will you go refill this water jug?
So needy.
Well, I'm gonna put the battery in and put the boat gas tank on, and then we can break this in.
I wasn't ready yet. Here we go. Moment of truth. Breaking it in.
Until we get it running, then you can hold the camera. Yeah, that steering box is all kind of in the way.
I can't see. I ain't even near the truck.
Yeah, and if you go anywhere more near the truck, you're gonna be in the on the steering box already.
Do you want me to hold it
I
up?
think if you're gonna keep the inner fenders, they're gonna have to be cut up where they're like. See the steering box?
Do you want me to hold it?
Yeah.
No, don't move it.
It's gonna be a. I mean, you have to make a big notch right there.
I say let's sit it down and let's unbolt the inner fenders. Let's not cut them. Let's see if we can just get all the bolts. If I can get them out, I think that's the path of least resistance.
Goodbye, inner fenders. It's been nice knowing you. Future Brittany here again. This footage is more recent. This is actually current. It's from December. So as you're seeing this is what we've been doing the past few weeks. In the evenings, at night, Saturdays, in between shows.
We're working on the International weekend. Last night I made an alternator bracket, and this looks like some real trash, but I needed to step it out, so I just cut it and lengthened it. So I just cut it and welded a piece of steel in it. But it works, it holds the alternator. I like it up high rather than down low. And our thermostat housing didn't work because we had this one, and it was exiting right behind my bracket. So I got one for a Mustang. It turns straight up. So that is much better. And now I'm mounting the front end of the truck to the frame. Got an old piece of rubber from a mud flap I cut up in there.
Do you want to talk about what you're doing?
I can. I'm taking the steering column out of this crusty Ford truck because I think the shaft I found that's going to work with our box will connect to this column. So this is not the right way to do this, but it's the way we're doing it. really wish I had some sort of an impact or something.
This truck was actually in pretty good shape a few years ago, but we parked it after Daniel hit a Mercedes in it.
The Mercedes hit me.
Yeah. It was really funny because the Mercedes had to be like towed home. And Daniel just drove this back home. But it did bend the frame and it smashed it. Pretty bad, but it drove back.
Well, this cab's not even on that frame anymore.
Yeah.
And this is not in worse shape. I mean, the seats are rough, but these seats were bad when we parked it.
Yeah. The headliner is now saggy.
The headliner was saggy before we parked it. Yeah, that's the good grill. I need that. You just come out. What it's attached to, it's not hooked to the ones. I don't know what I'm attached to. Aside from this wiring harness, I figured that would just pull out. I went under this stupid pedal bracket. Got it. Beautiful. Let's see if this connects to our shaft. For the record, this is the part I absolutely hate. I can build hot rods all day long, but hooking up steering and throttle linkages and pedals, I'd just as soon be shot than have to do that. It is the worst thing, and if I can just use whatever's there, I do, every time.
Maybe you should drag it out for size comparison. So you're trying to drag it out for size comparison?
I'm trying to put the other column in. Here, get rid of this. Oh, I was trying to hand it to you. This is hot garbage. If it had a bearing on the bottom of it, I would use it and just weld to it like this guy did. Well, that's about the same length as this one where it comes through the firewall.
Yeah.
So maybe that will actually work.
So are we gonna change the steering wheel?
Not right now. We're making this run and drive. And getting the adapters for the forward column is near impossible, so you may go to 6 weeks with a forward steering wheel.
Ew.
I'm over the point of caring about this. You told me last night to stop caring and build this.
Well, I was hoping to still use the International one.
We're not using that one. I don't care what we put in here. You can get a race steering wheel or you can use some hot garbage. That thing's huge.
I liked it.
It's big. It will not work good. You don't want a big steering wheel like that in a race vehicle.
It doesn't fit.
I'm not actually upset about this. It sits kind of close to you. Here. You would have to be about here. So the steering wheel's gonna be close to you. But I don't know that we can make any of that any better.
Good thing we're roughly about the same size.
Oh, we don't have seat sliders anyway. So we're both in the seat down and ain't moving. I guess I can cut the firewall hole big enough to stick this through.
Do you have to keep this big ugly thing?
Well, I was gonna use that to bolt it to the firewall.
Oh.
Because that's the little forward, that's the plate that bolts to the firewall. So if I keep it, then I don't have to make a plate.
Oh. What about the electronic plate?
We can get rid of all that. I'm probably gonna get rid of all these covers too, and just gut it and make it as small as possible.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna let it tuck up into the hole. It's just gonna sit below the hole. But if we get this in, then we can check steering column off our list.
Yeah.
Anybody out there wants to sponsor us for like steering columns or controls? That'd be fun.
Like, I did it.
I hate it. I hate this stuff. Burning passion. Nothing in building cars that I hate more than making the controls work. Absolutely nothing. It is the hardest thing to me. And I think it's because I can't just hack it together and make it work. It's because it all has to be in the right place to be comfortable. And I'm a just hack it together and make it work guy. Anything I have to touch twice annoys me. I don't mock stuff up. I don't know if you've watched me build, but I just put stuff together and weld it. Like, I do not mock stuff up. So anything I have to touch 3 or 4 times gets under my skin, I just can't do it. Why are you laughing? I really do hate all that junk. Like, with a burning passion, absolutely despise it. Maybe we can use this factory turn signal switch.
Ooh.
Don't you have to have turn signals?
Yeah.
I've been looking at this, and this column is perfect if I can take about 2 inches out of the bottom of it. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna follow this zigzag line, and I'm gonna drop 1.5 or 2 inches out right here. And then this bearing will go back on. And then this is collapsible, so I can hammer it down to whatever length I need. And then this crispy forward column will work just fine. So we're gonna do that. It also collapses here, but I'm not sure how far it'll go. So I didn't really want to play the game of let's collapse our steering column, because if I need to make a final adjustment later, I have that. And I think that it'll only move about 1 inch right there. So maybe we'll take 1 inch here and knock some out there too. Just bump on that and see if it'll move. Okay, that's a little harder to move. So let's just take 1.5 or 2 inches out the top. do is we're going to tape us a couple of lines here. This is 1 inch tape, so if I do 2 tape lines, it'll give me 2 inches. So I need to cut halfway around there and then drop down to here. I believe that'll do her. Let's reverse that. Okay. Actually, I like it better the other way. Okay, there's one cut. I need to do that one more time and then cut the bottom. Beautiful. All right, now all I need to do is cut them top tape lines.
Why did you, oh, you gotta cut in the middle right there?
Yeah, I got a step. Beautiful. All right, let me clean that up a little bit. can use this to clean it up. I'm sure somebody's going to yell at me for cleaning that up with that particular tool, but I do not care. So I got this shortened. I cut this piece out from below here. I cut this piece out from the other side. And I re-drilled the holes, put the screws back in, bearing on. So now we have a 2-inch shortened column. So this should fit now. I do not condone putting crusty Ford truck steering columns in your drag car projects, but I also condone being broke. Now let's go take a look at how this fits now. I don't have to cut the firewall of the truck either. Now it sits far enough back. That's beautiful. Yep, that'll work. I think that right there is about as good as you're gonna get with what we're working with.
Wait, let me see this side. Oh.
Look good?
Yeah.
Is it tucked up tight in the hole?
What do you mean? Like,
Is it at the top of the hole?
yeah?
Beautiful. I'm happy with all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can tuck it up like that. So it's far enough up so we can get the valve cover off.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to have a bend in it though?
What do you mean?
Well, from that angle, it doesn't look like it's gonna line up with this box.
It's got two, we got 2 universal joints.
Oh.
If I get that stuff in there, and then I'm gonna have to grind 2 little flat spots in that box shaft. But I got this linkage that can go from here to here. I may have to lengthen that linkage because I don't think it's long enough. I don't know how much it's gonna expand. I really didn't want to lengthen it, but we'll do whatever we gotta do. And then again, it may be pushed all the way down. I don't know. Let's see how far it expands. I may have to heat it. It may be still. Oh, no, it's moving. Barely. Yeah, what a pain. I wish there was a good way to like do stuff like this. I don't think there is. Hold this here and give me a flat spot to hit. It's working. Wrings your hands pretty bad. But it's working. Now I can grab that too. Let's see what that is. I'm gonna cut this and lengthen it because I got it freed up and we have that much movement, which is not enough to do what we need to do. Rid of this piece of plastic. Yeah, this is that C4 Corvette steering shaft we bought from Pull Apart in Orlando, ain't it?
Yeah. When we were on Power Tour? Not Power Tour, Sick Week? Was it Sick Week? Or were we down there for the swap?
No, we were down there for... We were just down there. I don't remember what we went down there for.
Maybe it was
Oh, it was
in
when we...
Alpharetta.
No, it was when we went down... Something to do with Keith Church. Maybe to give him money. We went to see Keith, and then on the way back, we went by Pull Apart.
Seems like a logical thing to do.
We got to get the steering column mounted, and then we can figure out exactly how long this needs to be and where to put it. Beautiful. I've got the steering column mounted. Got it bolted under there, and then I've got a little, you can't see it. I've got a little, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. There's a little bracket in there, L bracket, with a big clamp. So I've took the shaft and I've ground two sides flat, and I ground me a little nub in it for that bolt to go through, because that is what the end of my steering shaft looks like. So now I just need to make a steering shaft. Piece of steering shaft, I had it as a handle on Phillips air compressor. I need to add 8 1/4. So if I go 10, that'll give me enough to stick in both ends of my sleeve a little bit. So I'm lengthening my steering shaft. I found this piece of steering shaft that I've been using for a handle and a roll-around air compressor for several years. So we're going to use it for steering shaft. That'd be great. It's tacked. It's not tacked very good, but it's tacked. So I've got my new steering shaft tacked together. We're gonna make sure that it fits before I final weld it. Yourself. That's connected. And I've got to connect that. And I've got plenty of this left to connect that. I've got plenty left. Beautiful. Now we can weld that up and call her good. So I got, it's gonna end up being about right there. Yeah, that still had a good bit in there. Okay. We can weld both of these up. That's not bad for a completely blind weld. I can't see through this helmet at all. Like, not even a little bit. Went over that spot again because I didn't like the way it looked. This is a steering shaft. This is mildly important that it's like...
Structurally okay?
Yeah.
That's nifty.
Beautiful. We'll let that cool off and put some grease in there. And then we should be able to bolt this together.
Woo.
Hand me that impact wherever you can. Like that. Five turns, lock to lock. Tell me when.
You're going past straight now. Straight now. Oh, fabulous.
You ain't gonna fix that.
Why can't you just put a steering wheel on there and it be where you want it to be?
Well, I guess I mean, you might be. I don't know. Either way, that's fine. I'm not worried. My steering wheel, my light truck's about right there. Always has been.
I don't get why you not just take the steering wheel off once you find the center and then
You might can, but sometimes there's like a horn ring thing that has a thing that comes through that you can't just position it wherever. It has to stay. Either way, the steering's hooked up. That's a monumental thing.
So we can always just change this box.
We may buy a steering box. Which is going to result in me probably having to remake that shaft.
Why?
But having the column mounted, it's not that big of a deal to have to remake that.
Why would you have to? Why would you have to remake it if you got a different box?
Because if the box I get don't have a double D shaft, that's not going to work. But it's in there. We can drive the truck around town with it.
Look at you go.
So I'm working on buttoning up the cooling system right now, and I got a belt that might work. First, I'm going to try to get this incorrect hose to fit. I got that end on there. It is a little big, but I got it on there. Now I got to get this one on, which is a whole lot closer to being the right size. So the belt I got from AutoZone that was slightly longer than this one, it's perfect. So now I can reinstall my fan and my spacer, tighten my belt. I need to put a bypass cap on this. Located a bypass cap. Stick that in there. Add a clamp.
This is pretty much what is left of our checklist, and there is some more things that we need to go back and revamp or redo. But for the most part, right now, we're at a point to where that we can crank the engine, not crank the engine, start the engine, hear it run, and let it run and idle on its own. The motor has already been broke in, so that's just a big step. Then after that, we need to address wheels and tires. And then before we race, there is some things that we need to fix. The steering box is one of them, and then we still need springs, and then we still need to figure out or change the rear end in this, and the leaf springs. So those things will need to be addressed before we race or do anything. But the biggest motivation for us is gonna be able to get this thing out of the shop, get it out, and take it on a test drive. That's what we are hoping to do, just so we can get a base point, see what it's gonna feel like, what it's gonna look like, is the transmission gonna work, and go through all the gears, just some stuff like that. That way we can figure out what the next steps are. Also, it's a big motivation factor for us to actually get to see it go down the road, to drive it. Something more motivating than being able to drive your stuff. And for the past year and a half, year or so, it's been sitting like this. So we're pretty excited about that. We are hoping that we can make this run so you guys can see a video of that. Hopefully next week. Our goal is to get it running so that we can drive it for Christmas. It is already tagged, licensed, insured, so we don't have to worry about any of that. It's ready to rock and roll. So we'll see. Will we make it to Christmas in this? I don't know, but hopefully.